Greetings everyone, Surgical here, and welcome to the launch of my Patreon. By joining the Patreon, you'll be benefiting from a monthly subscription for the terrain that I'll be releasing. My first Patreon launch, I'll be launching modern urban terrain to be able to play games like Zombicide or Bolt Action, and I've been inspired doing this terrain by Zombicide. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a huge fan of zombie shows, zombie movies, and zombie games. The same terrain is going to be releasing at full price at my regular store, but as a Patreon, you'll have a huge discount with this. I know not everybody's into zombies, and a lot of people like medieval terrain style, like for Dungeon Dragon or Mordheim and other games like that. And I'm also planning to focus on that as well as science fiction. Now, the way it's going to work is 1 month I'm going to focus as the main launch, and it's going to be on a theme. And next month I will be releasing some more terrain for that, but I will also start launching medieval terrain. But while I'm doing all that, I will still release a small amount of terrain for each of the other themes. So I'll be carrying over every single theme of terrain that I reach because I don't want to do and forget. It's an evolving world. I'm also interested in science fiction, as you know, and I've released in the past science fiction, but I'll be bringing that back more detailed and in continuation of what I've done. As well, all this is going on later on this year, I'm planning to do Old West. There's not a lot of terrain in the Old West, so that should be an interesting challenge and fun to do. So the big picture, every month I will be releasing terrain for different themes. So please join me with the Patreon and help me to build this thing up, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I will also develop my game that I've mentioned before. It's going to be kind of a universal set of rules, so it can fit in all those settings that I just mentioned. I will be releasing scenarios based on the terrain I'm releasing. If you missed a month or you're not in a Patreon, all those terrains will be released at regular full prices at my store. All right, enough of talking. Let's get into it. Some of you might be familiar with my framework system. I just updated it to have it 8 by 8 inches instead of 6 by 6 inches. It just works better that way for printing the terrain, and it works with the same clips. So pretty much everything is the same. I just had some small adjustments to it. For those who purchased terrain that was based on the 6 by 6, I will have some 8 by 8 frames that can accommodate the 6 by 6s, so you don't lose what you've done. As one benefit of being a part of the Patreon, this framework system will be available all the time to be able to be downloaded for newcomers. It's like a welcome package. If you're not a member of this tier of Patreon, don't worry, you can still purchase this framework system. I will also include with this the little nib nub connector. So if you don't want to use the framework, you can connect the terrain tiles together with that. And if you're not interested in either of those, well, no worries. There's still the magnet little slots in there. Again, for the newcomers who are not familiar with this framework system, basically you connect all those tiles and you make the board the size you want. And each piece of the terrain will have those little holes there, and there's a little thing sticking out of the 8 by 8 framework. And you just put the terrain on top of that and it stays in place. It can be a snug fit or a loose fit depending on the tolerance of your printer. But that doesn't really matter or affect anything. As long as the tile fits on there, it works. Regardless on how it fits, it will be playable. Another consideration when you print, orientation is really important on the quality of the terrain. You can see this one on the top is printed standing up and it's really smooth, while the other one is printed flat and it has all those layer lines and topography like that. If you like that and you can use it, it's fine. It's really up to you at the end of the day. But I would recommend putting it up standing up or on an angle a little bit. If you go through my YouTube channel, you'll find on my 6x6 tiles for Mordheim inspired terrain, I go in more depth on about how that works. So you can see this one, for example, has some topography and it was standing up while this one has a topography being flat. The other tile you saw earlier is just a flat middle because the building fits into there. You'll see later how it functions. Once you decide the size of your board and you lay down the framework, you put all the building and the tiles on top of it. So I'm just going to do a quick overview on how that was done. So this is like, there's an alleyway, so there's two tiles. I have a whole bunch of variety of them in the files. So if you're making your terrain a bit bigger, you're not going to have a repeat of everything. So the way I laid out this board is I have the main diner where it's playable in the inside. I have a small store that is empty, it's just coming soon. And you saw the alleyway style going in the middle there. I have a parking lot next to it. None of the miniatures and elements of the board are included. I will have the parking stopper things included, as well as that you saw that little piece of brick wall thing. I'll show you later. Again, to have a variety, the parking lot pieces are in two sections like that, so you can just add on the top. So there's not going to be a repeat of everything. If you're familiar with my other videos, there's always pieces flying around because I'm really clumsy, so please don't be alarmed. So here's a clearer view of the parking lot. So, and those cement stopping thing where the car goes there, and you got your parking. God, I love those little dinky cars. They're so much fun. And they drive on their own. Here's a different street view. So you see there on the right side, it's the beginning of the construction site. And I have those jersey walls, which are also included with the terrain. So you can see now the street tiles. And this tile has a little groove there to have access to the parking lot. I will have later on a video with all the board painted. But the idea is that all this is modular. So you're not stuck to have the same layout that I showed you. You can bypass that diner and have different multiple little stores, and you can do pretty much everything. Stores on both sides. Let's have a little flyby of how I laid out that board. So on the right, it's the scaffolding, and there's a dice tower there that can be used in play, and at the same time it's a chute, for garbage chute for the scaffolding. And this is just how the scenario is going to be played out on this layout of this board. Here's a little fly through the alleyway, and from the other perspective, the phone doesn't fit through. I'll have to try something else. I need a GoPro or smaller camera to be able to do this. My head is turned to the side right now. Hopefully I won't be staying like that for long. Hold on to your chairs or whatever you are on. And I'll be expanding this with having a full construction site and another side of the road, and there's going to be some building on top of this, so the roof is removable and it's attached through those clips that you saw earlier. And there's going to be a second floor with apartments or whatever else I think up. Or if you have any suggestion, okay, we're upside down now. Hopefully nobody's drinking a coffee or something. So you can see I removed the roof there, and you can see the inside of the diner. And the doors are all functional. You just have to slide them into the openings. Same with the windows. And here's the other shop. It's exactly the same frame than the diner, but it's just laid out a different way. So it's very modular. The entire terrain all the terrain that I build are all modular. So I'm just trying to figure out what to do with the camera here. I hope nobody had lunch or supper right now. And I made it so depending on the base, your miniatures can go sit there and have their lunch or their meal there. There's also napkins and sugar, salt, pepper, ketchup, and mustard at each table. And the bathrooms, that by the way, it's the kitchen of the restaurant, the diner. And I'll show you how it works, how modular it is, because all those insides, they can slide out and be replaced by something else. So what you see in black of the building is going to be standard for all this style of building, and you can replace the inside by sliding in a different inside. I'll show you shortly. You're probably familiar with those roads. I did a video on how I painted those. The stencils will be included in that Patreon for the roads, and the stencils is always going to be in there available. So it's one of those gift for newcomer package. I'm always going to add on as time goes by more stencils and more inclusions and tools for finishing it. Now let's explore on what else is included and what is what and how it goes together. So you can see here there are door frames, there are window, and there's those little bricks. So those little bricks is if you don't want to use a window, or this is part of an alley, or cover a door that you don't want to use, you just slide in those little bricks. And also adds a visual effect because it will be painted differently than the rest of the building. And if you decide to have it accessible, you just remove it and replace it with a door. And there are different type of doors. There's a semi-glass pane door, there's a full solid door, there's a door for that goes through the back alley, there are doors for the front, there's a door for the inside of the buildings. So you pick the doors that you want. Now that you got the door frame and the door, you need to put them together. I've tried different ways. Sometimes, like if you notice my Mordheim stuff, it was all in one piece. And this is how the solid door works together. That would be more for the back alley. So it's like modern doors. You just push to unlock and open. And the other side, you just pull it open. The reason I made them separate like that is just for ease of changing the doors, or because all printers don't have the same tolerances. But the only thing that all the printers that we use for this have in common is the spool of plastic and how it works. I think you got the idea. Just snip out a little piece of plastic. You straighten it out a bit so it's just easier. You can also cut it in a 45 degrees angle. So you just slide it through the door just to make sure it fits. There's nothing obstructing it. Then you do the same with the door frame. The door frame you may have to clip some stuff because I print a lot of that stuff without support, so you're going to have a lot of dangling plastic there, PLA, because that's what I use, PLA. And you just clean that up, and the hole you might just have to widen a little bit. But first you try to see if it fits, and it fits pretty tightly. It's a 2.2 millimeter holes that I have there, even though the plastic is 1.75 millimeter. Tolerance of the printer and the fact that this is sitting on the bed when it's printing, it changes the initial entrance of the hole. So you just align the door with the holes with the door frame. You can, sometimes it works straight all the way through without any issues, and some other times it's just better that you stick it through a little bit, then slide the door into it, and then fiddle with it until it goes through. I cut it flat. I didn't cut it in 45 degrees, so that's why I'm struggling here. But at the end of the process, it will go through all the way, and you snip each end. And that's just the other way, like I mentioned, that you can make it go through. And see, it went through right away, no issue whatsoever. Whatever works out then is easier. Now that the door is functional and it's holding on together properly, you just snip with the flat end and snip on the other side. And now the door can fit into the building door frame. Just like that. It might be a little bit snub because, again, like I said, I don't use support for a lot of sections. And the fact that I don't use the support, if there's some dangling a little bit, it will make it fit a bit snuggier. And you can remove it after to replace the type of door if you don't want that particular one. You're probably saying, "Hey, your door sucks. There's no windows." But no, there is glass windows. You see that little space in between those cracks, because you can take a piece of clear plastic like that. That was a holiday Christmas card thing box, and it's really funny because I didn't really measure anything, and it just worked out perfectly for the window. So I just opened it. It's very rare. Normally, it doesn't happen. So it's not that superstar or anything like that. So I just grabbed one of the window frame like that, and I was just gonna place the plastic in to see how much more I have to trim for it to fit, and as you can see, perfectly. And there was no cut. If you rewatch that little section, it's a straight on recording, so I'm not cheating. Let's move on to the modularity of the buildings. So the roof connects to the building with those clips. It's all standard clips for all the pieces, and each section of the roof connects to each other with that. As you can see, the clips are already there, so you see it, and it holds on pretty tightly. And it's easy to remove too. There's not much resistance. It's designed on purpose for that. It's just designed to press click, press fit. Now for the building itself, you can separate it in modular. You can have it a 2-section, you can have it a 1-section, you can have it a 4 or 3, and the inside slides in and out. So that means you only print the framework of the building, and all the inside is just you customize it for whatever kind of layout you want. You want a restaurant, you want a clothing store, you want a pharmacy, you want a gas station, you want like a mall. You can even build a mall that way. For the long section of the frame, I use support there, but for the windows and the doors, no support needed. And most of the terrain is printed at 0.28 millimeter at draft mode. Same goes for just simple tiles like this and simple flooring, and I printed these on both sides like that, so you can paint it differently. And you just slide it in. It fits one way, and they line up. The more complicated inside are a bit more tighter, and I usually print those in the higher quality at 0.08 millimeter with a 0.4 nozzle. And I didn't really print any support there, so there's some dangling filament, which is fine. You just snip it out. All the doors are the same size, so you just put the door that fits the design that you like for any specific room. Then you assemble the rest of the restaurant. So there's the front part of the dining room, the back dining room, and then the kitchen side. And you see the kitchen in the back there on the right before the stairs. It's the walk-in fridge. And you just put the regular door that you see on the outside. You can just slide in the frame in there, and it fits perfectly. You see the stairs going out. It's for the second floor where the apartment will be. And there's underneath those stairs, there's a stairs access to go downstairs to the basement. Now, I haven't done the second floor. That will be for another month. Same with the basement. The idea is that I'm going to do a whole sewage system with a cavern underneath and basement for the buildings, and above ground it will be second floor, third floor, and so on. That's the beauty of the modularity of the system. You can have a 10-story building if you want. And I'm designing the room and the terrain as much as possible to fit and be miniature friendly. So for example, the bathroom could be closed, but you'll have an encounter there, or your miniature can be hiding in there, or in the smaller room, or in the walk-in fridge, or going up the stairs, or going down the stairs. Even depending on the size of the base, the miniature, and the positioning of the leg, the miniature can be seated at the restaurant table. You can see there another example that the miniature with the base fits moving around the terrain. So to increase the playability and the interest of the game. Here's an example of how the doors are fitting. Just because of the design of the kitchen, I couldn't design the door there built in. But see, the same door frame can fit on the outside, the inside doors, and everywhere else. Now the bathroom and that other room, the storage room in the back, the frame is already built in. So, and same with the stairs going up and down. So all you have to do is put the door without another door frame, and it will fit perfectly. You can even separate the back dining room with the kitchen. As far as the roof goes, here's the AC unit, and it's printed in two sections just to add more details and make it a bit more realistic. You can print it in high quality so you can have more details in the blade, but this is at draft mode and it's fine. For the access to the roof, you can have the access to the roof from the outside, and you can slide it in like this, and there's a little section where the clip goes, and it kind of locks the stairs in place. The little stairs on the roof like this, they fit anywhere, but it's just for more security. You see, you put it there and it slides all over the place. But if you put it in between the clip and the edge there, they kind of lock into place there. So it's just more practical for gaming. So if you're clumsy like I am, it won't be flying all over the place. Let's dive deeper into how the roof works. So it's, in this case, it's 4 plates for covering the restaurant, and there's those ledges that clips on the sides, and those ledges, they're going to be different models and different later on other releases, so all the buildings won't all look the same, but they connect the same way. So it's just for modularity and compatibility between each design and each rendition of the buildings. Finally, we get to the dice tower, and the dice tower is the scaffolding for the construction site where it's going to be a high-rise there. There's the steps there, and when you print it on the side like that. Now, you see the uneven section, the ground there, it's kind of crappy. It's just because I was trying different formats when designing it. The final revision is that you'll have is a lot smoother. This prints without support. I implemented the support within the design itself of the scaffolding. So if you see, I'm dropping in the dice tower chute, but if it's blocked. So if I take a die and I roll it off like that, it will get stuck. It won't come through. That's fine. It's by design. Support and minimize the amount of support while printing. And at the same time, I'll show you later why there's another reason for that. Clipping off that section where the dice will be falling off and coming out. And don't throw to the garbage those cutouts, because they can be used as debris, construction site debris. Because it's messy. Nobody goes around and vacuum. So now the opening is clear of obstruction and the die come out. You can even roll a whole bunch of them at the same time. Now, if the scaffolding is completely closed off like that, nobody can come in and out. So that's why you take the clipper again, and you decide wherever you want to have the entrance for the workers to go in. You just clip it off. You can clip the entire section or a smaller section, whatever suits your need or your visual desire. You can also print multiple of those scaffolding section with the dice tower, and the second one that you print, for example, you don't have to do the chute. It could be just an extension to cover a longer facade. And on the other side here, there's no way for the miniature to go into the building floors where they go and work. So that's why you take the clipper again, and you clip the section that you want to have access to the floor where work is being done. And again, don't throw that to the garbage. We try to recycle as much as we can, so there's as little waste as possible. I'll show you some trick later on other videos what I do with the printer poop chute. So you can put them in different section. You don't have to align them all, those access points. Thank you for joining my Patreon, and if not, just go and buy the Terrain at the store. Take care.